Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. We just crossed this insane threshold yesterday. It's something that it legitimately boggles my mind. And depending on when you're listening to this, so for clarity, I'm recording this in January. Chances are you won't hear this until March or April. But as of January 4th, we had a video on YouTube cross the 1 million views mark. And it's absolutely blowing my mind that so many people have tuned in and listened. And that's not even the craziest part. The 1 million views is not even the craziest part. The craziest part is that there's been 80,000 view hours. That means if you do the math on that, 80,000 view hours divided by 24 hours in a day means that that people have spent the equivalent of 3,333 days consuming that one video. And put another way, that's 9.1 years. That means I could watch this video on repeat every single day for 9 straight years. That's how much it's been viewed. And it's boggling my mind to crunch those numbers and see. And this episode is not just about humble bragging or anything like that. I wanted to share this because the truth is I have been creating content for years on Instagram. So back in 2020, I set the challenge to myself that I was going to create and post a video every single day on Instagram in under 1 minute. Part of that goal was to force myself to develop the muscle of public speaking, to speaking impromptu on any topic, to be good on camera, and then to build the muscle of actually posting and putting my content out there into the world. And so I did that challenge and posted 365 videos, and they did okay. I'm talking 10, 20, 50 views sometimes, not a million views. And for majority of that year, it felt like I was just screaming into the abyss, into the void, and that nobody was really paying attention, nobody really cared. And that was 2020. And at the same time, we wrote another book, launched a podcast, Multifamily Investing Made Simple, with my partner, Dan Kruger. And, we're just doing a lot of stuff, just putting out a lot of content. The point of this is over the last 5 years, no, maybe not 5 years, well, maybe 4 or 5, somewhere in there, I've been putting out a lot of content, writing a lot for Medium, for my blogs, videos on YouTube and the podcasts. But the truth is that the majority of that time was spent feeling as though I was talking to nobody, that nobody cared, not even my friends and family. Truly, you one of the harsh realities that you'll learn as a creator, as a business person, is when you put out a product or you put out a video or you put out a blog and you share it with your friends and family, you think they're going to be so excited and they're going to support you and be and fall in love with the thing that you created. The truth is that the people that are closest to you are going to be the least interested in that thing, most likely. The love and the support that you get are going to come from complete strangers, and that's going to feel really, really weird, especially in the beginning, because the strangers will not have yet found your stuff, and so all you will have is crickets, and the reality of the fact that your friends and family probably don't care as much as you would like them to. That was the thing that I learned when I published my first science fiction book. I was blown away by how many people would ask me, friends and family would ask me how the book is happening and going before I published it. And then when I published it, they're like, "Oh, that's so great and that's cool." And in talking to them, it became very, very clear that none of them had actually read it. They might have bought it, and that's awesome, but nobody actually read it. And that hurt so bad. I remember thinking, what did I do this for? Because it wasn't so clear, right? It wasn't really until the 5th or 6th book that I published that I started getting meaningful traction and attracting strangers. Because I was not an overnight success. And in the same way that my content now around entrepreneurship, investing, and mindset, personal development, it was not an overnight success. It's been years in the making. And those years were very, very hard, because if you're trying to make an impact on the world, it can be very, very frustrating to create something and feel like you're just wasting your time and your energy. And so if you're listening to this and you're a creator, you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to build something, and you're just not seeing the traction with it, it's not making the impact that you wanted it to, just realize that's normal. That's the game, and that it's going to take a long time. But here's the takeaway, is that if you can fall in love with the process and just keep showing up and saying, you know what, even if nobody listens to this, that's okay, because this is another rep. And through that rep, I'm going to get a little bit stronger. I'm going to become a little bit better. And it's going to be just another drop in the bucket. And eventually that bucket will be full and it will overflow. And that's what happened with that video that finally hit a million. That video went live about 4 months ago, and the bucket was finally full. And suddenly it was a waterfall coming over the top of the bucket. And the takeaway here is, you never know what that one thing is that's going to change everything. And so you just need to keep showing up and putting in the work and having faith that through that process, it will all be worth it someday. And so expand your time horizon and your expectation of, how much work this is realistically going to take. Commit yourself to saying for the next 5 years, at minimum, for the next 5 years, I'm committed to doing the work of this business, of this creation, or whatever the thing is that you want to make. Commit to it for at least 5 years, ideally 10. In a perfect world, you could commit to it for the rest of your life, but at least give it that long. And if you're listening to this, I get this all the time. I'm going to do another episode right after this one, because I get this question all the time, is like people asking me, hey, is this, a lot of time it's from young people, hey, is this a good skill to learn? Is this a good business to start building? And or they'll ask something to the effect of like, should I give up? Because is this a good business? I've been trying it for a while and it's not working. So is this a good business, or should I just give up and do something different? And usually I'll ask the probing question of, okay, how long have you been doing this? And just last night I asked a kid on Instagram who DM'd me, and he was like, well, I spent a month or two learning the skill, and then I've been doing, I've been trying to like get traction now, and like for the last month or two. I was like, that's 4 months, man, at max. And probably it's even less than that, truthfully. Like, usually I take whatever somebody tells me and I divide it by 2, and that's usually the right number. So I'm like, you spent 2 months on this thing. I'm like, that's not enough. That's not enough. Like, you need to 10x that. You need 100x that. That's the only way that you can be guaranteed of results. And so I'm going to do another episode on that. But I wanted to share this with you, mainly because I wanted to say thank you. If you're here, there's a very good chance that you've been brought into my sphere in some way, shape, or form, whether or not you've seen that video or you have any clue what I'm talking about. But that video did change everything. And so I wanted to share this with you guys to give you a little bit of hope, a little bit of clarity, a little bit of perspective. If you think, like, you look at me and you think, oh, his life is so great, he's a one-hit wonder, or he's like overnight success, or it's always been so easy, or any of that stuff, just realize it's not. Nobody has it easy in this game. The only way to the top of the mountain is through the hard work of taking the steps yourself. Nobody's going to carry you on the back. So it's a long climb, but it's worth it. So I wanted to share that story with you guys. I hope it brought you a little bit of value. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody who's tuned in to the podcast, to the YouTube channel, to any of the content that we create and put out there into the world. It's amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you guys are doing well. See you in the next episode. Until then, stay hyper-focused, my friend.